The Department of Karmic Balance. Episode 1. Business as Usual. It was a busy day, as is the norm at work. Marcus sat at his desk in his office, wondering when they would lift the ban on decorating their office spaces. He hated how everything in his small office looked. It was all white, and not the kind of white that's just bland and makes everything seem gray and depressing. Oh no. It was the white that shines. It makes your eyes hurt if you look at it for too long. The problem was, it was everywhere. From the computers they use, to the coffee mugs at the kitchen, to the suit Marcus and the other angels wore. Did I forget to mention that Marcus is an angel working at the most despised department in heaven? Must have slipped my mind. Marcus worked at the Department of Karmic Balance, the department dedicated to the management of the cosmic force karma. If a mortal did more good than bad in their past life, they would be rewarded for it in their next life, depending on how good they were. If a mortal did more bad in their past life, they would be justly punished for it in their next life. Anyway, Marcus is an angel. More specifically, a lower second-tier messenger-class angel. The kind of angel who swoops in from the heavens to deliver the message to some unfortunate soul that they have pancreatic cancer. Or, for Marcus at least, they have to tell someone that they messed up too much in their lives, both present and past, and that they have a huge accumulation of bad karma. Marcus was not happy with his current position, and wanted a promotion really bad. After all, who wants a job where you have to review how many bad things someone did, then go down to earth to explain to them they screwed up and will have to live with the consequences in their next life? And there was never a case where the person would do nothing but good things. Due to Marcus being a lower second-tier messenger-class angel, he always got the jobs about someone insulting everyone too much. He never got jobs where he met a mortal who was a serial killer, but he never got the jobs where the mortal was on the moral high ground. No, those jobs always went to the middle second-tier seraph-class angels. Angels who always go down to earth to deliver messages of divine providence to mortals who never sin in their lives. The seraphs were always favored over every angel below them. And snotty to no end about it, too. Freaking seraphs. Marcus mumbled under his breath, still down that he was passed over for a promotion, which was given to Christina. Only because she could flutter her eyelashes did she get that promotion. Also, it's probably because she has Christ in her name that the higher-ups promoted her. They are biased like that. As Marcus sat at his desk, wondering if he could legally change his name to either Jesus or Jehovah, he heard a knock at his door. Before he could respond, the door opened up, and there stood the seraph in charge of the department, Joshua, in all of his blinding glory. A fun fact about angels: the higher on the food chain they are, the more light they exude from their faces, to the point that any mortal who gazes upon them is so blinded by the light, they start hallucinating from the sensory overload, which makes them start seeing things. Usually about angels who are nearly naked, showcasing their muscular bodies with golden locks and blue eyes. Marcus just credited this to mortals being hung up with sex. He always thought that race thought more with their libidos than with their minds. Marcus, hey. Got a case here that I need you to look at, yeah. Truly, a man who knew how to use words. This was all Joshua said to Marcus every time they met. The upside was that thanks to how glowing Joshua was, Marcus could easily avoid him and sneak back to his office. Before Marcus could protest, Joshua dropped a heavy file on his desk and left, partly because he wasted no time in leaving, but mostly because Marcus just couldn't see. This was the extent of their professional relationship. Joshua would drop a case he didn't want on Marcus, Marcus would do all the work, and Joshua would take all of the credit for himself. Another reason why Marcus wanted a promotion, and the reason he didn't get one. Marcus opened the file and thumbed through the documents. Samuel White, middle-class mortal, lives in Spokane, Washington, owner of a small business, part-time pastor at his church. I guess that's nice. Where's the good stuff? Here. Misogynist, really? I thought they were past that. Homophobic, religious fanatic, holds racist beliefs, joy, and never tips its waiters. Well, we got a real shiner here. Might as well get this over with. Marcus got up from his desk and exited his office. He passed by the cubicles of his fellow employees, nodding and waving in their direction. Whenever anyone asked where he was going, he held up the file and they understood immediately. Out of the department, Marcus made his way to the portal to the mortal realm. Seeing the line that was there already, Marcus mused it was probably a busy day for everyone, if so many angels were heading to Earth. He stopped at the counter next to the portal and went through the usual routine. Hey, Thomas. Hello, Marcus. Another karma case? Thomas motioned to the fat file. Yeah, we got a real class act this time. Got time to spill the details? Is the portal acting up? Marcus looked over to the portal, which looked like something he saw in a mortal sci-fi show. It was like a sheet of liquid light, at once both still, and yet it shimmered with a multitude of colors. It was quite breathtaking, if you weren't seeing it for the millionth time. Nah, nothing wrong with it. I just wanted to talk. Most folk just come and go without at least waving. I get kind of lonely. Marcus felt kind of bad. He knew what it was like working a job without any real rewards. And he probably at one time was one of the folk who just passed Thomas by. Yeah, I got a moment to spare. Mortal by the name of Sam White. Owns a small business and is a part-time pastor at his church. Oh, I thought you got one of the bad ones. This guy sounds nice. I haven't even gotten to the nitty-gritty yet. Homophobe, racist, religious zealot, misogynist. Still? The race is getting better at that. They just have a few bad apples is all. I hope. And last but not least, he never tips. Yeah, he does sound like a real class act. The name's Sam White, yeah? Hang on a sec. Thomas started typing some details on his keyboard, the computer next to him loading a list of names that matched the information. Spokane, Washington. Is that your guy? That's the one. A few more keystrokes and the portal started to shimmer. It was slight at first, but then it grew in intensity, until it was nothing more but a wall of white light. There you go, portal's open. Want me to get the fog machine to spice it up? Nah, no thanks. I just want to get this done and over with. Suit yourself. Marcus walked toward the light, squinting so he could at least see if he was going to trip on something, and then walked through the portal. And 5 seconds later, he came right back out of the portal. Ugh, it's annoying when they cry like that. Marcus walked away from the portal and placed the file on the counter of Thomas's booth. Is it all right if I just fill out a few documents here? I just need to sign a couple of dotted lines and then turn it in to my boss. The one who's always shirking his jobs onto you? Why do you keep doing it? Because if anyone knows a thing about karma, it's me. And with that, Marcus signed the last line, gave a farewell to Thomas, and went back to the department. Even though he said he knew something about karma, the fact of the matter was that Marcus never had any opportunity to reap such benefits. Joshua would always take the credit away from Marcus, in one way or another. Speaking of Joshua, he always had a knack for knowing when Marcus came back from the mortal realm, because every time Marcus opened the door to the department, Joshua was there, blinding Marcus long enough to take the file from him and walk away, giving a hollow thank you to Marcus, which is exactly what happened. Glumly, Marcus made his way back to his small office, closed the door, and sighed. He sat at his desk, and was about to open up a game of mahjong on his computer, but was interrupted by a knock at the door. Come in. The door opened to a brilliant gold light, one that was both blinding and soothing at the same time. Messenger Marcus, you have been summoned to the High Sheriff's office. Wait 1 moment for transfer. Marcus was surprised. The High Sheriffs were the one who actually made sure things run smoothly here. Any angel called to their office was either getting a huge promotion, or there was hell to be had. Marcus mused that due to his luck, it was probably the latter. The light disappeared, and Marcus found himself in the office of the High Sheriffs. Or at least, he thought so. The area around him was nothing but the tops of clouds skimming a blue sky with a radiant light overhead. Marcus saw a desk in front of him, and whoever was behind the desk was looking at a file, with some of the documents splayed out on the desk. And to Marcus's left was another angel he never saw. An angel who looked really pale and freaked out. But when he saw Marcus, he looked pissed. Marcus, how did you screw this up? Joshua, please. We'll determine if this is a transgression or a simple misunderstanding. Marcus felt his jaw drop. This angel was Joshua? The same Joshua who seemingly made it his mission to make sure Marcus always got gypped? Oh, and apparently something was wrong. Now that Marcus got a good look, the file the Seraph was flipping through was a Sam White case. The same case Joshua left Marcus in charge of. What went wrong? The Seraph dropped the file on the desk and looked at both Joshua and Marcus. Surprisingly, his face wasn't a blinding ball of light. Instead, it was just a normal face, black hair and green eyes. Marcus was taken aback when he saw that. So, Marcus, how long have you been working at the Department of Karmic Balance? About 10,000 years. And how many times have you been promoted? Just once, sir. Really? It seems to me that in such a long time, you would have at least been given 2 promotions. I can explain, sir. Marcus is usually too busy with other assignments and I have to come in and take over for him. It is a fact that angels cannot tell lies. They must tell the truth and nothing but. That being the case, an angel can omit some facts of the truth, or tell the truth that they know of. In this case, Joshua was right to a degree, seeing as how whenever Marcus came back from a karma case he did have work to do, which is when Joshua would come swooping down and save the day. At least, from Joshua's view. Indeed. Then, tell me, why your name is not on this document? The Seraph held up the document that needed to go through the filing process to make sure everything was all right. The same document Marcus filled out at Thomas's booth. The same document that would usually have Joshua's signature. Usually. Marcus looked closely and saw his own name where Joshua's should be. Marcus absent-mindedly signed his own name on the document, and Joshua somehow overlooked that. Marcus's head made a 5-degree tilt to the left as it all dawned on him. Huh. Marcus, would you please tell me why your name is on this piece of paper? I must have accidentally signed it when I got back from the mortal realm. What were you doing in the mortal realm? Were you working on this case? Yes. Joshua passed it on to me earlier today. Marcus's mind wasn't working properly at the time, so the details about the moments just before streamed out of his mouth. Joshua passing this case on to him, his meeting with Thomas, putting up with the mortals whining, his signing the document, and ending with Joshua snatching the case file from him. The 3 of them sat there in silence, nothing moving except for the clouds around them. Finally, the Seraph sat up and looked at them. Marcus, I'm going to have to dismiss you for a moment. I'll call you when I'm ready for you. And with that, Marcus was back at his office desk, somewhat disoriented from the transfer. The office door was still open, and some of the cubicle workers hurriedly went back to work, obviously looking at his office, wondering what was going on. Marcus was still for a moment, processing what just happened, and then he stiffly opened up the mahjong game on his computer and started playing. Or would have, if he wasn't back in the Seraph's office as he was just about to get a pair. Marcus, sorry for summoning you so suddenly. I know that it will take a while to get used to, what with the whole time deal. Anyway, Joshua and I talked at length, and it was brought to light that this kind of behavior has been going on for a long time. The portal attendant, Thomas, was kind enough to elaborate on the whole thing. So we came to the conclusion that it would be beneficial to remove you from your current job. Marcus could hear glass shattering when he heard that, and promote you to first-tier Archangel class and head of the Department of Karmic Balance. And then Marcus could hear cherubs singing, which wouldn't be too much of a stretch, given where he was. If you were expecting cherubs, they unionize and are on their off hours. I'm sorry for the situation getting as bad as it did. We'll be performing a whole department investigation to see how bad this all is. In the meantime, you'll be receiving a paid vacation, and when you come back you'll be welcome to your new office. The Seraph stood up and walked over to Marcus, who stood up in turn. I suggest taking a trip to Japan in the mortal realm. The cherry blossoms are beautiful this time of year. Thank you, sir. Yeah. Marcus turned around, and conveniently saw a door right behind him. He looked back at the Seraph, who smiled. I thought this would be less jarring than just teleporting all over the place. Marcus smiled and walked through the door, which led back to his office floor. Deciding that it was high time for a vacation, Marcus walked to his office, turned off his computer, and took a look around to see if he should collect any of his things, which amounted to nothing. He then walked out of his office, went to the portal, and told Thomas the good news, who in turn told Marcus what happened to him. Thomas then entered a few keystrokes and the portal hummed to life. Marcus walked through the portal, thinking that it was an appropriate moment to have some dango.